What's up, riders? This is Kevin Wilson. Thank you very much for joining us on the BMX podcast. Just to let you know that the signups are closed. The team sheet has been submitted. The motos are in the can. And this moto consists of Danny Pena, my frequent co-host and compadre. Danny, thank you very much for joining me once again. We're going to welcome Mark Jackson, a Bay Area shredder. Who's still throwing it down from 90s till today. Very fast expert. And Mark, welcome to the show. And from this point forward, well, not from this point forward, but now Danny's going to introduce Mark, and we're going to get into a little bit of an interview going. We're going to find out about Mark's past, about his roots in the sport, and maybe some big names that he diced against. And then we're going to go into another friendly trivia episode on the end of the interview. And are we going to do a little bit of a different trivia episode this time, Danny? A little pop culture.
You know what? I failed to get the pop culture references, and I was like, I had to work, and I finished working, and I put all my work stuff out of the way, grabbed my personal laptop, and I'm like, man, I literally have like 45 minutes to put together questions. Okay. I was racing. Okay. So, but next week we'll talk about it.
Next week, you can spread the word that we will have a pop culture / movie / music a bonus question on the back of every BMX question from the 80s, right? Do I got that right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
You got it. You got it.
Okay.
See the comments for that one.
There you go.
Okay, so then after that, we're going to say goodbye to Mark, and then Danny and I are going to talk to the audience about future episodes, and that's our thing. So without another minute wasted, Danny, please tell us about our guest.
Mark Jackson, hot shoe from the Bay Area BMXers, and now Factory Babs. And I'm going to tell you right now, I've seen Mark race a bunch of times, and I like to go to the state qualifiers, Gold Cup races. This dude's always in front, man. He's doing his thing. And one of the unique things about Mark is we've had interviews, but this guy's actively racing, and not just actively racing, actively winning, which is like huge. Big difference. Yeah. So like, I have a lot of respect for Mark. And before the show started, I was saying, hey, you know what? It's good to talk to somebody that's actively involved. And I go to races every once in a while. I race. I haven't raced in a little while, but I get my butt handed to me about these freaking Factory Babs guys and Bay Area BMXer guys. You know, they're next level. I'm gonna tell you a quick story, Mark, though, real quick. Back 2013, man, I was racing pretty active again, and I went to Roseville. It was just a Friday night race in Roseville, you know, under the lights. Roseville, California. And you guys barely got going. You had those black jerseys, said Bay Area BMXers on it. Looked super intimidating, Kevin, right? And I sign up to race, and I get on the gate, and I got a stacked bunch of guys from Bay Area BMXers. I go, who the hell are these guys? And why are they all so fast? And I came back into the pits. My cousin James Traylor, which you know, Mark.
Yeah.
You know, he tells me, he goes, oh man, don't worry about those guys, man. They're like next level. And I'm like, man, they're kicking my ass, you know.
Was it like the old days where they all got in a van and then the team manager drove them to the track and they all piled out? Is that kind of how it was?
Yeah, they came pretty deep. Yeah. What's that like, Mark? Do you guys get a lot of respect out there, you know, being part of that team?
Yeah, we do. I do. It's a lot of just because of all the stuff we've done through social media and stuff, and all the stuff with the kids. So that's kind of the main goal, you know. Things aimed towards the kids. I mean, the bike is the product, of course. We're always trying to get that out, but the message is like we want to like help the kids. That's our main goal. Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the Bay Area BMXers have now earned the respect of the national level rider in terms of you're not a bike shop team anymore, you're a factory team? How do you fit in that scenario?
Yeah, okay, so like when Howard first started the team, like this before I was even on it, I think it was back in 2010 or 11, so I'm like somewhere around there. It was a totally different team than what it is now. And like now, the way it looks now is way more professional and polished, I would say. I would say like in the beginning, it was a lot of friends because there's one picture they have the whole team picture, and it looked like a big group picture. Oh, we got hella riders on the team, and like some people there. In fact, a lot of them aren't even there. The only people left on the team from that picture, and I think is Howard and Danny Mendieta, my other teammate Danny Mendieta. So, I've gone through some teammates through the years, and I've seen the team evolve and get more polished and more kind of goal oriented to what Howard was wanting to do. But always the main in the beginning, I'll say this in the beginning, I think it was the team was about his son because he wanted he based a team around his son, and then Brandon wasn't racing anymore, and then we were doing a lot of stuff with the outside of BMX with the community, and that's where it kind of like took off and the image started to become. And then when the Babs didn't come till like I think 21 after we won the bike shop title. So he
right on
getting one of them cups, the bike shop title cup, and then
right.
We want to do factory. So that's how we, it became. But yeah, I've watched that team evolve from its beginning to now. I'm just like, wow, that's crazy. And to be a part of it, it's just it's a crazy adventure.
I went to high school with Danny Mendieta.
Okay, yeah.
I went to high school with those guys, and so looking at them race still, I go, wow, man! It's like the first time I was on a track with these guys, Kevin. It's like 13, man, and we were at races together. Oh, I never really hung out with them, but we saw each other at school. Definitely gave us the head nod all the time because we recognized each other. And to see him riding now, I go, holy moly, man. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. It's like BMX is kind of like a fountain of youth, man. If you keep riding and showing interest in the sport, it just sticks. It doesn't feel any different than it did when I was a kid. Other than, I'm a little slower, but it feels the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, Mark,
I think you mentioned, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go, Mark.
Yeah. What's that? I'm sorry.
What were you going to say?
I'm not saying it's the one sport where you can walk away, and then when you come back, everything's still the same.
There you go. So you started in 1990, Mark. That's what we were talking about. Were you involved with other sports before you decided BMX is my thing?
A little bit of gymnastics, soccer when I was way younger. The main goal, I think, before I found BMX, obviously, a lot of people that know me before BMX knew I was trying to be a pilot in the military. I was going to be a military pilot because my dad was in the Marine Corps. So they're kind of like, he used to always bring me to air bases and stuff, and that kind of grew on me, and it's kind of like our thing. But then I'll never forget this because when I met Jeremy Strauss, I met him at these jumps we had by my mom's house out in Fremont, and he was this kid with a number plate. I'm like, whoa, where'd you get that at? And he's all like, well, I race. And I was like, wow, really? Because, I was into riding anyways, but at the time when I was riding, it was like freestyle was really big. Like really big. I remember in the mid 80s. And then the racing, I didn't get to see any of the racing except for the movie Rad. So I knew it was out there. But you didn't really know that world existed till you got there. So he's like, yeah, I remember we're racing. You want to come to my race? I was like, hell yeah. So he jumped in the back of his dad's, truck when you could do that back then. And then he brought me to Sonol, and then everything just changed after that. I mapped
that was my home track.
Yeah. I mapped my whole life after that. I was like, I knew what I wanted to do and again, all that airplanes and stuff didn't matter. All that went out the window. Everything just changed. It's just crazy when I got there. It's like I still remember that feeling, just pulling up and seeing these kids that were my age and younger and adults, and they're all in the gear, and you're seeing them, jump doubles and stuff. You're just like, oh my God, where have I been all this time? I was like, wow. Like, I want to be a part of this. I don't care how much it costs. I want to be a part. And and then it took me over after that, and just me golfed ever since. So,
yeah, Kevin went to the Marines. So, right, how old were you when you went in the Marines, Kevin?
I was 19.
Okay. 19. Yeah.
86. I went
awesome.
in. Yeah. The only reason I joined the Marine Corps was because the recruiter brought me lunch.
That even worse for me because I was like, that's when Top Gun came out. So yeah, my love of airplanes just went up through the roof. You know, I was 10 years old and I seen that movie, came out of theater. I was all like, "Yep, that's what I'm going to do. Yep, I'm gonna fly airplanes." You know, and then
I hear you, man. So you come back from the track and you tell mom and dad, "Hey, I want to race BMX and I need $500 for a bike." Right? What do they say?
Well, first it was like, okay, yeah. So that was in '89, and then that Christmas '89, I got my GT. Finally got the bike I wanted. It's a GT Interceptor from Fremont Schwinn, and then I was like, okay, I was like, okay, this summer I'm gonna race for sure. And then at the time, Tom changed Sonol. Tom Wallace, the owner, he went from ABA to NBL. So the only other
remember that
was Santa Clara Powell. So first, my dad and I, we drove around looking for Sonol, and I couldn't remember how to get there because obviously there was no Google Maps and stuff back then. And then back then, I was like, he used to leave the directions how to get there on the phone, and I couldn't. And when my dad came to pick me up, I didn't remember it. I was like, we get on this one freeway, and it was just like, yeah. And then I think we missed the exit. So then the next time we went out. The next weekend we went to Santa Clara Powell. I signed up, and I remember where that was. And we found that one because we saw a car with the bike rack on. You know, when you see the bike rack and the BMX bike, you're like, follow them.
Just follow them.
That was it. Yeah.
That car.
Man, that brings back memories. I remember that hotline you would call for Sonol,
yeah.
and they would tell you if they were racing. Hey, it's dry, we're racing. There's no internet. You know, so you had to call to see if they were racing. And Sonol BMX was across the street from Lawrence Livermore Lab on Highway 84 in Livermore, Kevin. So literally across the street, there's like a nuclear facility, you know. Nice. But the track was in like a farmland. Like it was just pretty blank out there. And from time to time, I drive by there because my dad literally lives in Sonol. And I could tell where the track is, even though it's covered in weeds. I go, I know underneath there is some serious history. You know, that track's under the all those weeds.
Yeah,
exactly. So when you started in '90, Mark, how old were you at the time?
14.
Ooh, you started at 14. So Kevin, he's close to you. You started at 16.
Yeah, so, I waited a little too long.
What was it like?
Believe it or not, because most of the guys I was racing, like even as a novice, they had already been. You know what I mean, trying to move their way up in the sport at a young age. And I was like, wow, dude. I'm like, you know, and like people look at it now, it's like it took 3 wins back then to get to intermediate. And those 3 wins were hard to get. Like people don't realize like you sometimes you would be a novice and you're racing against intermediate. So guys are way more experienced than you, won races than you, then you're racing against sometimes you're racing against other novices that had been novice for a while because they couldn't get them 3 wins, so they got more experience to it. So it took a while. And then to get out of Inter to X back then was like 10 wins. And that was like, that didn't turn expert till I was like 18.
Yeah.
Whoa. It took you 5 years to turn expert?
Yeah.
Hey, that's legit. It was hard back then because moto counts low, so you're always racing experts. And it was hard to get moved up. I know for a fact. About the time the track moved to NBL, what was his name? Tom something or other. I forgot his name. Yeah, Tom Wallace. He was the track operator. He said, Danny, I'm just going to sign you as X. You've been racing long enough. And I said, okay. And he put me in expert, and I started to get my ass handed to me. It was a lot of fun.
I only raced one beginner race in my entire career on a BMX bike. The first time I showed up, I had to race expert. I always raced expert, even as an intermediate. I had to race expert.
Yeah.
And the only time I raced a beginner was at a national. And so I raced beginner one time. Other than that, I was always racing intermediate or experts.
Yeah.
Even as an
fast, but like as a kid, you don't understand that. You're like, damn, dude, I'm like this is just you know. The experts see you come in like, oh, cool, I'm making the main. You see, you get put in there like, man, I can't make the main. There's no way, it's impossible. Like,
did you take a break though, Mark? Like you did take a break, right?
Because I turned pro in 1996.
Oh, you made it to pro.
Yeah, I turned A pro. It probably wasn't the best idea looking back on it now, obviously, but I'm kind of glad I did. A lot of times I'm glad I did because I was way out of my league in that, you know, because It's guys who've been doing it since they were like, I'm racing against guys that I was looking up to as a teenager. So, they're basically,
totally
there's A Pro and Double A. I didn't make it to Double A, but like I didn't realize what it really was until probably like the third year, and I started like kind of making some progress because I used to live with Mikey Hayek at the time.
He was fast. Yeah.
So that's I turned in '96, and then by 2002 or 3, I kind of quit. But that was because I was working in the bicycle industry, and that was around the time when GT went away the first time. So when that happened, if you were working in the bicycle industry, you felt that. Like you felt that like major.
Okay.
People were scared to spend money. They're like, well, if GT can't make it, what chance do we have?
Right.
What company did you work for?
What's that?
What company did you work for?
Oh, I'm sorry, Wilson Bicycle Sales. They used to be in Union City out here in the Bay Area. And they were a big distributor. And before that, I was working at Newark Cyclery for a long time.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so I've worked in bike shops since I was probably like about 17. I worked the first shop I worked at was actually when I was living in Indianapolis for a while. I called Bike Wave, and then when I came back, I was working for Newark Cyclery from like 1995 all the way to 2000.
Wow, you put some time on there. Do you turn the wrenches over there? Sales? What were you doing?
I was doing sales. Yeah, I was on the floor mechanic at the Newark Cyclery floor mechanic and whatnot. And ran the shop for them. So that's a lot. That's how a lot of people remember me from that.
I know that bike shop. I've been in that bike shop, so I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Boulevard, because it used to be on Newark Boulevard before, but I worked when it was on Cedar at the end. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Awesome, man. So
my brother worked for GT, and
wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, did you? I mean, he was the Powerlite, Auburn, Robinson, and Dyno product manager. So, did you sell any GTs when you were over there?
Yeah, I was a GT dealer. Yeah, that was like everybody's goal. Like, this is crazy because it's like, I can tell you I mapped my life when I was like 13 when I went to Sonol. I said, okay, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to work in a bike shop. I'm going to race I'm going to race pro. And then that's going to be that. I didn't, I just figured that was going to be an adult life. But then when I got into my adult life, then it still stayed. I wanted to race, but I was like, I want to work in the industry. I want to work for GT. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna work for GT. I was like, when my racing's done, I'm gonna be working for GT. Because you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, I could definitely retire with this. You're not thinking about retirement, but you're like, I can see a good end game for this. But I was a big GT dealer. Right Way was our account. And that was where you bought all your GT products. And then when that went away, man, it was just weird just seeing that big ripple go through the whole bicycle industry, if you will.
When you're talking about when they went away, are you talking about when they were sold?
Yeah, when they went away back in 2001 or 2 after Rich Long passed away in 97, 98, somewhere around there.
So you're talking about after they were sold to Pacific or whatever.
Yeah, Huffy. Yep.
Yeah, that's where my brother left. Yeah,
that was the first time GT went away because they had always been, Gary Turner, whatnot, American Made, Santa Ana, or Huntington Beach. Mm-hmm. As long as, for even when the 80s, when I look back on Archive magazine, I was like, wow, man, these guys were really that good back even in the 80s. Like, that's pretty wild.
Did you stick with GT or did you move on to another brand? I mean, after you got your Interceptor.
Oh, so like,
you didn't stick with GT, right? You played the field.
What's that? You
didn't stick with that one brand. You played the field, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, because like you get your first bike, and I was all GT'd out, and you start getting your American BMXer in the mail, and I think it happened to me when I went to my first national in '91, which is at Sonol.
I was there.
Yeah, I seen the Aro Krupi team. And then the Elf team, and then I was like, okay, I want one of these bikes too. I got to try one of these bikes, and all my friends were getting like different bikes, and only bike I never had, because I had a lot of them. The only one I don't think I've ever had was a Boss, which is weird being from NorCal.
Yeah, Boss is huge for NorCal. Me too. Guilty. Never had a Boss. Never had the Boss handlebars. That's it.
But I never had a Boss, which is weird.
My kids call me Boss, but I've never ridden one.
Yeah.
There you go.
I gotta get a joke in, dude, for the real.
You know that the impressive thing, Mark, is you started in '90. By 6 years later, you're racing pro. That's nuts.
Yeah. I was lined up. I wouldn't say I was racing. I wasn't in the mix. I was way behind because I turned expert. It was only a year after I turned expert, and I raced pro. So it was it was a steep learning curve. I made it out of motos in probably, I think, 99, 2000. I made it as far as semis. Still got a little bit of money, but that required a lot. It required so much. I mean, it took out a lot. God damn, dude, this is crazy. But the guys I was racing against, it's like all the same guys that were in my age group. Like, Hayek was AA by then.
Yeah.
There were a couple dudes that I remember, names I remember, that they were just visiting a pro, because I was like, these guys aren't going to be in the class for long. They're going to be AAs.
You can kind of tell, like, riders from the early '90s, like Inhee Lee, Mike Hayek. These guys, they're going to jump to AA like fast. I mean, they're just there.
Yeah, you knew that. I knew that just reading in the magazines, and just like, you just knew it. It was just one of those things like, man, these guys are badass. And then as I got older, when they make the announcement these guys turn pro, I wasn't too surprised. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be freaking fun to watch. Okay. But at the time, Gary and all of them were still there. Gary Ellis and Charles Townsend, they were all still there. So I'm like, whoa, what's that gonna look like? Mikey battling, against Gary Ellis, and that's like, so. But yeah.
Have you ever done any gates with some of those the big time AA pros from the Bay Area?
Oh yeah. Those when I was living with Hayek, one time we did this race out in Riverside for NBL, and we stayed with Travis Chiprez.
Nice. Okay.
Manager for Specialized, and then we went to I think Simi Valley BMX. We stayed down there, and then we rode there for a while, and we were doing gates with Danny Nelson, and I was like,
wow,
oh dude, But when I was, and this at the time I was a pro. So I would, line up with those guys anyways in practice in the races I would hit.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like, but when you gate with those guys like Cologne and there ain't a whole bunch of people, you're like, wow, dude, okay, this is, you definitely feel their power. When you're on the gate lined up with a whole bunch of people in practice, it's hard to tell because the AAs would break away and you could tell where the single A's were, in the practice, who was single A and who was AA. And there was every once in a while, there'd be some foreign guy that no one ever heard of racing A Pro, and he's going as fast as the AAs and AA.
I think that happened with like Levesque and all those guys.
Before you turned pro, who were you looking up to? I mean, who was your mentor, or who did you try to be?
I was always trying to be like Hayek because he lived right. He was like local in my town. You know what I mean? He lived in Newark, which is like next to Fremont. So like growing up, like I was always trying to be like him. I was trying to ride like him, and then I was looking up to a lot of amateurs growing up, and then of course the pros. It was always Gary Ellis, Charles Townsend, and Pistol Pete. Those guys. Yeah. Obviously, those NorCal guys, and then but then I was looking up to a lot of amateurs. I really those are good because that's kind of what I relate to because of the age group. Because Gary and all them, those are grown men. So you just looking at them, just like, wow, dude, like these dudes are just giant. They're just going like crazy fast. And I could never picture myself as an adult. So it was like you look at kids your age, then you're kind of like, well, okay, I want to be like him. So
one of the things that I kind of realized is like looking at a magazine, seeing Gary Ellis, Pete Lonkarovich, Charles Townsend. You see them in the magazines, and you're like, they're just doing what we're doing. How hard can it be? And then you go to a national, and you see these dudes just tearing down the foot straight. It's like almost like, is that a human being?
Yeah,
because that's hella fast.
Yeah, they make it look so effortless. And it just, even back then, it was just, man. I remember one of the first national I ever went to, because it was the same year. Basically, I went to the Silver Dogs, but I didn't race, which is, story of my life. But that was like Silver Dollar Nationals in Reno. And that was the first time I'd seen Gary Ellis in person. And I was just like, man, it was the same thing, like, that Dave Chappelle when he's talking about when he saw Rick James, he was just like he had that glow around him. I was like the biggest fanboy. It was crazy. It was crazy. And then seeing all those other amateurs I looked up to too. It was the same thing. You know, I was like seeing Reyes and Inhee Lee, seeing those guys, and I was just like, oh my God, like, whoa, it's really them. Because you know, back in the day, you know, you get the newspaper and their pictures are just frozen. So you're just looking at like, huh, okay. When you see them ride, you're like, wow, dude, okay. And then as you get older, you're like, damn, now I see why they snapped the picture. Those dudes were freaking badass.
Yeah. And so about what time did you decide you were going to clip in? Like, I know you're clipped in now, obviously.
Ooh, yeah. See, that's it. Okay, so that one, me and funny story, Danny Mendieta, we were the last people at the track to clip in. I held off for so long because when I quit back in 2002 or 3 or whatnot, I was still on flats. And then the clip in was already kind of like inserted itself, but there were still some people that would still race flats. So it wasn't people who look at you silly like you must be novice. No. I came back, and when I came back to the sport in 2008 when the Olympics was going down, the sport looked like I was like, whoa, my God, where am I? Like it's a whole nother world. But then once I got there, then everything was all normal. But the equipment was different. I was like, okay, clips are the thing. Like the clips are the thing. Like there's no getting around it. And I held off till about 2011 or 12, and then I finally committed. I was like, okay, I see what the difference is. I need to be on clips because I raced my first national in 2010 since I had quit, and I got moto, but it wasn't by far. And I was sitting there like, huh, like God, I was like, man, I guess clips would have made the difference because it was everything. Nobody jumping everything anymore. Everybody's manual and then pumping through the rhythms and stuff, and pedaling through stuff, and I'm like, okay. And I was like, all right, I see. And I tried them once back in 2001, and the reason why I never stuck with it, I never forget this. I had them on. It was 2001. I put them on. There was like these CD shoes and Shimano pedals, and I went to this Pals track practice in them. Got a good like ripping gait out of them, and I was like, okay, I'm going fast. We're going crazy fast. And I came around turn 1, and I'm going like, okay, I could do with this, and I come off the double, and then there was this long table, and then there was this kid, and I had like about like a thousandth of a second to react and get off my bike, and it didn't happen. So I see him, I grabbed brake, and I was going so fast it didn't matter because it's basically brake. We hit. Yeah, and then next thing you know, I was like, I'm taking these stupid things off. I'm like, no, I'm done. I can't do clips. It scared the crap out of me, and it just because I was like the fact that I couldn't escape a situation that I could normally get off. Because I had been flats, I just would have jumped off the bike. My bike at best, but there's like, grown man coming at this little 7-8-year-old kid who's just freaking noodling around the track, and then we smacked, and I was just like, all right, no. Yeah. So.
To this day, will anybody ever show up on flats?
Oh yeah.
They do.
Guys that are still Brent Pee Wee Lee, dude. He competes in my class, and he's like, I call him FPK, Flat Pedal King, dude, because he's the only one that could race in the as high pace as the class is, and it's crazy competitive. He doesn't have much of a gait, but he makes up for it in so many other ways. And the way he rides, like he is the 90s. He's just a reminiscence of what the 90s was. When you watch him ride, he still rides the open face with the Jofa.
Oh, I like this guy already.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's got the highest district points ever. He's like way up there. Yeah.
Wow, dude. Like how Andy Patterson was the last person to stick with the one-footed start.
Yeah.
And like who's going to be the last person to run flats?
There's a couple kids that are like talented enough to do it because now the USA BMX has this rule well, which they adapted from Europe, I'm pretty sure, because I remember seeing this happen. But you can't clip in until you're 13. So
Right.
That's a good
Yeah.
one.
So the kids, because a lot of the kids, when I came back, everybody was clipped in, even the novices. I'm like, what? And it kind of made sense, but it didn't. But the injury rate was crazy high. And then when you started looking at it, like these kids, they didn't really know how to ride. So it's just like, how are you BMXer and you don't know how to do a manual? That's silly, Or you bring into a set of trails and they were like, they went in, they turned white as a ghost. They didn't know what to do. You're like, yeah, you ride these. You don't need to clip in here. This is not about going fast. And
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Danny, do you know what they call a manual in Mexico?
What's that?
A Manuel, dude.
Manuel.
Oh my God. Kevin, dude.
Do you know
That's crazy.
what they call a manual in France?
What's that?
In an Emmanuel, dude.
Okay, you need to stop, dude. I'm gonna pull your card.
Well, anyways, I could never clip in because I always like to have my foot kind of crooked.
Right.
On the pedal, I could never get it straight. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I could never feel comfortable clipping in because I always had to have my foot cockeyed.
It's hard to at first, believe it or not, because your natural body move things you do naturally on the flats. The clips will stop you. They'll limit you. Like you'll try to move your feet like this, and the clips are like, nope, that's as far as you go.
Yeah. It also forces you on the ball of your foot, right? The front of your foot, I should say.
Yeah. I put my cleats on right on the knuckle of the toe, so it's like I'm kind of right in the middle.
Yeah, because I tend to put the pedal almost in the middle of my shoe.
Yeah.
And like Kevin said, my feet kind of naturally go like this. Mm-hmm. And I've watched a lot of old races, and you've seen those, Mark. And you know who used to do that is Greg Hill. If you look at Greg's foot position, it's almost always like this.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. I noticed it because he was like one of my heroes. I'm like, hey, he rides like me, because his feet were out like that, So I just I pay attention to a lot of the details because I watch the same races over and over and over and stuff like that.
I say that because I was one time Terry Tennant put up a video of this one cat Dennis Balch. Dennis had won the Grands. I think it was like 88 or 89. He was winning. He won A Pro. I think the video's still up. It's on either his YouTube page or his Facebook or Instagram. But anyways, I watched that race and I was like, yeah, Dennis was killing it, dude. But that was funny you say that because his feet were doing the same thing that they were kind of pointed out, and I was just kind of like, yeah, that's the difference between the flat pedals and today. I was like, some guys their feet were straight a little bit. Other guys, they were bigger dudes, and then they rode with their feet out. So I'm like, that's one thing that.
Is that the biggest difference that you've noticed over the years? Because now you've been at it for a while. So going from the 90s through, now we're 2020s. So what do you see? What do you notice as far as the biggest differences?
The clips is I knew that would eventually make its way. I'm not surprised, but the tires and the tracks, I'm like, wow, that's genius. And the Onyx hubs, of course, they're using that Sprague system, roller clutch.
What does that do, by the way?
So the engagement is just right there. There's no play because in a profile hub or any other like Paul hub, there's like you can do this before you get the click.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of play. There's zero play. It's like where you set your pedal is where you're starting from. So
no way.
Drive. It's like the stuff they use on helicopters and tanks use that system, as well as conveyor belts at your grocery store to pull your food forward to the line. So that's the biggest one where it's like nowadays if you don't have that, everybody looks at you like, whoa, you don't got Onyx, what's wrong with you? Which is crazy. But the tires is definitely the one that I was like, wow, we're on slicks now. But it makes sense because the tracks are hard. Well, now they're soil tack, which is even way harder than hard pack. But I was like, back when I was racing, we had knobbies, you had Comp 3s and GT Megabytes, IRC Sirens, and dirt
Power
track,
block,
right?
right?
So they'd be soft and they grab, and now the tracks are they're just asphalt basically, and yeah, we got asphalt tires, and it makes sense. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't get it. I'm like, no, the grip, like we don't need knobbies. We don't need knobbies no more, and we're jumping higher and going further than you could ever have imagined. So yeah, when I came back and in '08, yeah, the Olympics was going off, which was like perfect timing because I was like, okay, now Olympics is a BMX sport, and I saw the tracks and I was like, wow.
It's
I
different.
never thought I'd see doubles that big. And then when I went to my first World Cup race in Chula Vista, I was blown away. I'm like, this can't be. I'm like, I don't hear no motors. Where the motorcycles at? There's no way BMX bikes are jumping this. There is no way. And there's just no way. I was like, and then next thing you know, right down the first straight, I'm looking, they got the first jump is like big 32, 35, maybe 40-foot gap. And first person I seen like in my view is Mara Stromberg. So I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And then we stood, I watched the whole race live. It was crazy. I seen people get helicoptered off, which was like, I'm like, wow.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. That is next level. If you're racing World Cups, I don't care if you don't make the main. You're badass. You are badass. Like you are. I don't care, dude. To get around that track, like it's crazy when you see the gaps, even for the girls.
Yeah.
You ain't saying you can't say like, oh, you ride like a girl. And someone tells me that now, I'm like,
thank you.
Oh, girl, because that's a compliment. Because
the
gaps they're jumping are huge.
What do you feel about the big hill? Do you think you could ride it, Mark? If you had an opportunity to go down that big hill once, you think you could do it?
Oh, it would take me a couple of days, but I'm pretty sure I'd eventually get the balls enough to send it over that first jump. In my 20s, I would have done it. I did something similar to that in Bear Valley back in 2000, Vans Triple Crown, and I did like 5 practice runs, and I didn't.
Oh, you went to that?
I didn't want to race because I was going faster than I'd ever gone on a BMX bike, and that was downhill, and there wasn't no soil tack back then, so it was kind of like a little bit loose.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember coming down to the hill on I think my final run just for practice, and my hands were shaking. I couldn't stop shaking because I was like, damn, dude, like this has got me like on the edge. I can't imagine what it's gonna be like when it counts for race time. So I was like, I'll watch.
That's funny because I've watched those races only on DVD, and I don't know if you've seen them, Kevin, but the Vans Triple Crown, it was the kind of the introduction of Supercross. So it's just a huge downhill course, but that's not groomed like you see today. It's just gnarly. It's like a motorcycle track.
I did a reel of one.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the one that Robbie Morales won and he crashed at the last jump? Is that what you're talking about?
Robbie Miranda, I think.
Yeah,
Robbie Miranda. Yeah.
DK. Yep.
That's what you raced, Mark?
Yeah, the one I went to, I think Chris Sanchez won it, and he was riding for Huffy, I believe. And,
I seen that.
Yeah, but there was a lot of guys there with you saw chest protectors, and back then guys were still rocking open face helmets, but not there.
Not at all. Huh?
You could tell a lot of guys went to their local motorcycle shop and got the Bell helmet, and it was all like, wow. Yeah, you guys know.
I clipped that race out and I put the AC/DC behind it, and I got like 150,000 views. It was kind of cool.
Hey, it's entertaining to watch. If anything, it's super entertaining to watch.
At the very end, he skies it out, and then he lays it down on the last jump. He won, but he crashed.
Yeah, that was Miranda. Yep, that was right, Miranda. Yeah, That was nuts.
They showed. I read something about that race, and Danny Nelson was massive at the time. Big time AA pro. Right? Yeah, he was AA pro. He was on factory power light, and he said, "I went to that track. I saw it, and I go, yeah, I'm not racing that." Yeah. And he left. Yeah.
I thought he was in that race. Huh.
No, he didn't do it. He's like, no, I'm going to go play golf.
At the time, Mario Soto, he was still alive, that obviously, but he crashed pretty hard. He lawn darted because he just, it was easy to like you could go fast, but you couldn't go too fast over these jumps because going downhill. So like you over jump something, it's not the results aren't going to be like, oh, I'll just grab brake. Like no, you're getting pulled down by gravity and mid flight.
Yeah.
Lawn darted pretty good, and yeah, he left too.
So, Mark, what's your most memorable race, man? What do you think? If you had to name your top 3, what's your favorite BMX memories? Your top 3 races? What do you think?
Yeah, they all happened. Like, I'd probably have to say they all happened in my 40s, obviously, or
Wow.
the last few years. Yeah, because even in my 20s and stuff, like I really wouldn't say none of those pro races just because it was. But okay, I'll go back to like probably '99 Santa Clara Powell National. That was pretty fun. I mean,
That was that one.
I think I made nice. That was a good one. And after that, yeah, there'd be some of the races here, like around when I won my first national in 2020 in Buckeye Nationals in Ohio. Toledo.
Nice.
That was dope. During the pandemic, when everybody was, when the world was all froze, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I went on tour and I won my first national in class because I won a national before that in open at Oak Creek. So yeah, probably Oak Creek, Buckeye Nationals, and then this last one, the state final when I won that one. Those are my 3 favorite ones that I did. That one.
Oh, I almost forgot to ask this, Mark, and I'm pretty sure it was you and Howard. Did you guys ride your bikes from the Bay Area to Los Angeles?
Yep.
No way, dude. No.
You did, dude. It was live.
No. I call bullshit.
That was in that same year. And
I did that.
That happened right before we left for Ohio. So originally, what happened was Howard called me up. He's all, "Hey, you want to do a ride?" I was all like, "We're gonna ride our bikes from we're gonna ride from here to LA. So you want to go?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." At the time, because at the time I got let go from my work because of the pandemic, and then I was on unemployment, so I was like, "I'm not doing nothing. I got no plans. Sure, why not?" So originally it was supposed to be me, him, and one of our other teammates, but the other one was a little too young. Him and his sister were a little too young, so they kind of didn't get to go. So it was just me and Howard. Ended up me. So it started off me, Howard, and I think Brian Patterson. They and a few other riders saw us off. Basically, we started at Castro Valley, and then I think when we got to Milpitas, it was just me and Howard. And then that took about like 2 days, and it was.
Wait, hold on. You rode 20 inches or 20-inch bikes?
Yep. Yeah. That was nuts.
Okay. All right.
We had the tall seat posts on, and yeah.
And you did it in 2 days?
Yeah. Yep. It was wild. We just kept going. I mean, it was just like at the time there wasn't much traffic, and we just we did our water breaks. Howard somebody sponsored us for it, so we stayed in a motel obviously between, and then get up and just keep pedaling. We pedaled all the way to Ventura is what it was. Yeah, so when we got to there's this one part that's like 20 minutes outside of it because you're by these mountains. So we got to the top of this one mountain, but I was like
Gaviota.
What's that?
Gaviota.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's where it was. It was like
hey Mark, I've done this ride. We have something in common. I did this ride that you did.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you my story after you're done.
That's after like Mariposa or something like that, right? Or that city called Mariposa or
all I know is on the map it says Gaviota, and it's this huge hill for like 4 hours long, and you're just coasting down this hill. That was it was better than sex, dude. It was just walking down the hill, dude.
So where we were at the top of the hill. We might have, I don't know if we might have done that part yet already, but we were right in the sun. And the problem was that the road was really narrow. It was for 18-wheelers only. I was like, we're not going to fit, dude. we are not going to fit. Almost like, and then, you know, we were only like about, we said 20, 30 minutes away from our like, you know, destination where the trip was going to end. So we called it on the in the interest of safety, because it was like the sun was going down and it's nothing but 18-wheelers. So, and I'm like, they're not going to see us on our little bikes. Like, this is on this road, this narrow road. No way. There's no runoff area. There's no bike lane. I was like, I'm not trying to bump elbows with an 18-wheeler. It ain't happening. So yeah, we ended up we called it from there, and we you know, we did accomplish the mission regardless. I mean, and then it was awesome. It was crazy. I was like, I don't want to do it again though.
Can I share my story? Do you mind?
Yeah.
Mark, I apologize, but I don't tell this very often, dude. So back when my brother was working at he was working at the bike shop, Main Bikes, and this guy shows up one day and he's buying all this gear. He was like probably like 91, 92. And he's buying all this gear, a new bike, all kinds of crap. And we were like, dude, what are you doing, man? Where are you? He's like, yeah, I'm going to ride my bike from Los Angeles to New York. I'm going to take a couple months off of work. I'm going to ride my bike across the country, right? And we're all, you're out of your mind, dude. What the hell are you talking about? So this guy spent like $1,000 on all this crap. Bags, bottles, gear. He takes off. Like 6 months later, he comes back into the bike shop. Skinny, he's all ripped up. He's like looking beautiful. And I'm like, dude, what happened to you, man? He's like, yeah, I just got back. I rode out there, and then I decided to ride back home. So my brother's like, so it took him like 6 months or something crazy. So my brother's like, dude, we should do that. I'm like, you're out of your mind, dude. No way. And he goes, think about it, dude. We get some bikes and we fly up to San Francisco International Airport. We put them together in the airport and we ride back to LAX and pick up my truck. And I'm like, no, dude, this is not a good idea. And he's like, trust me, dude, it'll work. So 3 of us went up. One guy quit after the first day. I rode a Diamondback Ascent, I think it was, road bike. My brother had a GT Karakoram, and the first day on the ride, we went from San Francisco International Airport to Carmel. It was like 130 miles on the bike for the first day. And then the other guy goes, forget it, I'm not doing this. I'm taking a Greyhound.
After the ride,
Mark, did you ride through Big Sur? Mark, did you ride through Big Sur? Did you ride up the hill?
I don't think so. I think we took some back way.
Yeah.
It was Google Maps.
Because you can't ride bikes on the 5 or on the 1 for that matter. You have to. It takes you inland, and a normal 350-mile car drive, you have to ride like 475 on a bike to make it.
Yeah. And we did it on one of the hottest days of the year, which was great.
I saw you guys sweating, dude.
Yeah, I was hurting.
We got to the bottom of Big Sur, and there's a sign. It says hills and curves next 85 miles. And we took a picture in front of that bit, but the picture's been lost to time. But I do have a couple of pictures of us in that area of Big Sur, and we cheated, dude. My brother did not want to. I said, dude, we're hitchhiking up, dude. Come on. And my brother's like, no, we have to ride. I go, dude, I'm hitchhiking. So I talked my brother into hitchhiking, and we hitchhiked up to Big Sur and then came down. But we rode the rest of the way. And but it didn't take us 2 days, dude. We did it in 4 days. We did 100 and we averaged 120 miles a day.
Okay.
Wow.
Nice.
Something like that. Yeah, and we stopped at LAX. So I can feel your pain. But see, you did it on a 20-inch bike, dude. You got me beat.
Yeah, I was looking back on it now. I'm like, that was pretty crazy, dude. And then then I think the next weekend, then we flew out to Ohio, and then I won my race. And then I don't know what it was, but that was like, it was a 3-day national, and I was like, I raced Friday and Saturday. I won on Friday. I got 2 seconds on Saturday, and I was like, I'm not racing tomorrow. I was like, I've had enough.
You must have been dead by then, man. Your legs must have been jelly.
What's that?
I said your legs must have just been jelly by the time you got to that race.
I was over it. I was over it. And it's funny because you say that because when I did race Sunday, I was like, why aren't you racing? I was like, I'm over it. I'm tired. He's like, you rode from like NorCal to SoCal. You should be in perfect shape. I was like, maybe I am, but I'm still not racing today. I was like, no. I was like,
Yeah, and Brian Patterson didn't show us off either. He went there when we left. That's always cool.
I thought he was gonna be around with us for the whole race, the whole ride actually, and then we get to Milpitas. He's like,
talk to you later, man.
And I was all like, oh, okay, it's just me and you out.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, hey, Danny, we're at 50 minutes, bro. What do you want to do?
Well, we can try to squeeze this in if you want, or we could just wrap up the interview with Mark.
I always like to do trivia. Are you up for Mark? Are you up for trivia, Mark?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. All right, let's make it fast, Danny.
All right, we're going to go fast and make it count. All right, so Mark, how it works is I got 3 different years. This time it's going to be 1983. I know it's a little bit before your time, but like I said, I made the questions pretty easy. 86 and then, 1985 and 1986. So 83, 85, 86.
Okay.
All you got to do, Mark, is pick a year you want to try. I'll read the question. You get it, you get a point. Pretty simple. If you miss it, Kevin can steal it and vice versa. And then some of them have bonus questions, so you can get 2 for 1 on some of them. So if you're falling behind, there's a chance to get 2 for 1.
Okay.
All right. So
I got to keep score here. Hold on. Okay.
You don't trust my scoring system.
I don't trust me. Okay.
All right, Mark. 83. You're the guest. Guests always go first. 83, 85, or 86. What do you think?
Let's do 86.
All right, 86. In 1986, what BMX movie was released? Easy one.
Oh, Rad.
Rad. Okay, so that was an easy one. Yeah. Can you, for the bonus question though, Mark, can you tell me who played Crew Jones's mother?
Oh, that was Talia Shire, Rocky Balboa.
Woo! Got 2 for Mark. Good start, Mark. Yeah. Came out of the gate quick. I know Kevin.
Got the whole shot.
You got the whole shot. All right, Kevin.
That's usually how it goes with me. Let's see how the rest goes.
I should have went a little bit further out, Mark. I kind of forgot you were a little younger than me, so I should have went a little further. But it's all good. Okay, Kevin.
I watched that. I wore that tape out. I remember when I got that. I wore that tape out in Gleaming the Cube.
Gleaming the Cube. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Kevin.
You have 82 or 83?
83.
83.
All right. Let's see. In 1983, McDonald's ran a commercial featuring what Hutch rider? Was it Monty Gray, Tim Judge, Charlie Williams, or Toby Henderson?
Is this for me?
That one's Kevin's, but you can steal it if you can't get it.
You know what? You know the answer, Mark?
No, I don't know. I could take a guess, but no.
I'm gonna go with Monty Gray.
Woo! Got it, Monty Gray.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, he was a younger Hutch rider, and he's killing it. And they do at the end.
Howard would have killed this part.
Yeah, you would have.
Yeah.
There was a cool scene at the end of that commercial because they both did like these foot endos, and they like shook hands. It was really cool. It was really cool for the time. All right, what you want there, Mark? What are you thinking?
We'll do 85.
One to 85. All right. In 1985, ACS advertised this classic wheel set that was made of plastic. Can you tell me what those wheels were called?
Oh, the Z-rims?
Z-rims. Bing! You got it. There's no bonus on that one, but Mark, 100%, dude.
Wait. Z-rims came out in like 81, dude.
Didn't say they came out. I just said it was advertised in 83. I knew you were going to question me on that, man. That's why I wrote it down.
Okay.
They were still around when I was racing, and I used to hear all the stories. You put them in the freezer, they'll straighten up. And I'm like,
I thought they looked cool. I just didn't have any interest in. Did you ever use those, Kevin, at all? The Z-rims?
I rode them for years. I loved them.
Okay, there you go. So you liked them. All right, man.
Came loose, but I liked them anyways.
Yeah, Mark.
Still around today. We just call them carbon rims.
There you go. That's all funny. I think Mark hustled us, Kevin, because he's like, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know about trivia. And look at
Well, 83, man. I was like, I know a couple of those names. I was like, who the hell is that?
All right, Kev, what do you want to do?
83.
83, going back. In 1983, what two pros were on Factory Team Murray?
Oh, so that's me, Mark.
Don't say it, Mark. Hold on to your answer.
I'm just guessing, thinking in my head.
You say Murray?
Team Murray had two pros. 1983, pretty famous dudes. Which were the guy? What were the name of those two pros on Factory Team Murray?
Okay, so Clark and Sewell.
Yes.
Yes.
Good job, Kevin. Excellent, man. That was great, dude.
I almost didn't get it, man.
I saw you, man.
I was like, look at Sewell.
Sewell, yeah, he was like, I know it. It's right there. I could picture it, man. I could see your head moving.
All
right.
One of them, though, I'd have been stuck because I'd have been like, Anthony Sewell and yeah.
That's what happens, Mark. You're not a Gen Xer, dude.
Oh, I am Gen X.
Oh, you are considered Gen X. There you go. All right. All right. What do you think? What year you want to go with?
He's lowercase x. We're uppercase x. All right, go ahead. Mark's turn.
I'll go 86 again.
True or false? Tommy Brackens was racing for GT in 1986.
True.
That's true. Okay, so you got that one right. Now the bonus to that is, who was the other pro on GT at the time in 1986?
Was it? I've just seen the pictures, so I'm thinking, was it Kevin Hull?
He was amateur at the time. What do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, see, I know the names.
86.
86.
Pro.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Ellis.
Gary Ellis. So Kevin stole that one. So that was a good one. So you got that gets 4-3, Kevin. Mark's got the small lead right now. He's leading in the first turn here. All right, man. All right. What year you want this time, Kev?
83.
83 it is. All right. In 1983, what freestyle rider was in the ad coined "Making History"? It was a 09 ad. I'm sorry. What freestyle rider was in the 09 ad coined "Making History"? Now, I'm going to give you an idea of what the visual of it is. He's like this. He's got an open face helmet on, mirrored goggles. All you see is the 09 number plate in his handlebars. Was it Buff, RL, or Haro?
Well, it wasn't Haro. I think it was Mike Buff, man.
Got it. It's Mike Buff. It's a great ad, by the way. It's awesome.
It is a great ad.
Yeah. All right. So we're tied up at 4-4. No bonus on that one. We're okay though, Mark. It's tied, man. What do you think?
I'll go 85.
We're going back to 85. All right. In 1985, this is a good question because this is a bike shop that was local to us. Okay, you ready? In 1985, Hank and Frank ran an ad in BMX Action.
Oh, man.
What was the price point for a pair of Comp 3 tires? Was it $11.40, $20.50, or $19.99?
I would say about $20.50.
Oh, that's a miss. What do you think, Kevin? Can you steal it?
B.
2050?
B. Whatever B was.
B was 2050. Believe it or not, guys, the price point for a pair of Comp 3s in 1985 was $11.40.
Wow.
And, yeah, I read it myself. I kept looking. Does it say pair? And it was a pair. And I'm like, only $11.40 for a pair at Hank and Frank? I could have sworn, man. I'm like, there's no way. But that's what it said in the magazine, so I'm just going to go with that one.
Still tied.
It's still tied. Now, it's basically, Kevin, it's your turn. Let me see. What was there? Okay, so there's a bonus.
Would have been when he walked in a bike shop, I wonder.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, I know everybody's going to question that stuff. So, Kevin, I'll take a snapshot of it and I'll send it to you.
Danny's coming with receipts, man.
Yeah. All right, Kevin, you ready for your question?
The bonus, yeah, good.
Okay. Z-rims were over or under $60 in 1985? Over or under?
Under.
Under $54.95 was the price point for a pair of Z-rims in 1985. All right. I don't know. Mark, what's a good set of wheels go for nowadays, man?
Oh my God.
1,000?
A good, like a decent set, probably like about wheels, complete wheels,
Yeah, complete wheel set.
about 500.
God damn. Damn, inflation, man.
I thought the hubs would be 500. Like Chris King's are like 500, right?
Yeah. Oh, you wanted some custom? Yeah, that's different. Like,
Okay.
so when I worked in the bike shop, this is what I used to always tell people. I used to always say, this is what's going to break cranks and the wheels.
Cranks and the wheels.
Anything
Yeah.
that rotates is going to break you. The frame, not so much. The cranks and wheels are going to break you. Everybody was always like, "Oh, it's all good." Oh, I'm like, "All right." And then everybody picks out this top of the line. Then I hand them the bill, and you watch their eyes look like Garfield, John from Garfield.
All right, man. I think it's Mark's turn now, right?
Yeah.
We got 5-4. Kevin's got a small lead. He passed you in the second straight. What are you looking for?
I'll try 83. I'll try and see.
Oh, we're going back to 83. Okay. Oh, we're done with 83. Okay, so we're finished there. So we can go. I went a little smaller, Kevin, because for time constraints. But I have 2 questions left for 1986, and I have 2 questions left for 85. So we have 4 left.
Okay. So let's go 86.
1986. All right. In 1986, Greg Hill was racing for, was it Redline, GHP, or GT in 1986?
GHP.
Oh, what do you think, Kevin? You can steal. Redline. He had just finished with GHP, moved on to Redline. Kevin picks up 1. Okay, I do have.
I started in 90. I missed all that.
I know, my bad. I'll make it up to you, Mark, next time you come on.
It's all good. I'm actually learning as I go along. Okay.
All right, so we're going to move on to the next question here. Whose turn is this? Oh, Kevin, you stole it, right? So it's still your turn, technically.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I've got 1 left for 86. I got 2 left for 85. What do you want to do?
86.
86. In 1986, CW freestyle rider. What CW freestyle rider resembled Dee Schneider from Twisted Sister?
Oh, wow. Definitely get that wrong.
It's an easy one because I looked at it already, but everybody said he looked like him. Big blonde curly hair.
Arl Osborne.
Oh, it's a miss. What do you think, Mark? I know it's before your time. What do you think?
Wow. CW. I can't even picture CW as a freestyle, let alone.
All right, guys. I'll let you slide on that one. It was Diz Hicks.
I was never heard of him. That name was coming across my head for some odd reason.
Yeah. Diz Hicks was a
Hicks guy, but I'm like,
yeah, he was big on the kick ramp, like the short ramp where you do all the kick turns. He was pretty big on that.
Right.
All right. So we're not freestylers, so it is what it is. Nobody gets that one. We got 2 questions left in 85, and I think it is Mark's turn because he tried to steal. Okay, Mark, I'm going to give you the next one. So 1985, this is true or false. Ralph Sampson appeared. Ralph Sampson is an NBA player. Appeared in an ad in BMXA. Is that true or is that false?
True.
That's true, yeah. Now, the bonus to that is, what was he advertising? Was it a sport drink? Was it sport supplements? Or was it both?
I would say 85 is probably a Gatorade, so a sport drink.
Bam! Got them both, man. It's the weirdest ad because he's in his Houston Rockets uniform, and back then the shorts were really short in the NBA, and he's leaning against like a cheap 10-speed, and he's advertising a sport drink. It's the weirdest ad ever, but it was in there. All right, Kevin.
You realize that we're tied now.
We are 100% tied. So, yeah, this is because there's only one question left. So I need to get a tie.
Do you want to how can we do this? How can we do this last question where you want to ask the question, we write it on a piece of paper and show you it or whatever? Do you want to do that?
Okay. Do you have something to write? You guys got something to write with?
I might. Hang on a second. Give me a hot second.
All right. So let's call it like this, Kevin. If you both get it right, tie. If one of you gets it right, we got a winner, right?
I'll be 1 and 1 and 5. 1 and 5.
Hey, check out Mark's #1 plate in the background there.
Nice, dude. Nice.
That's pretty sick. Is that a blue background with the white numbers on there?
Yeah.
I wonder what that represents.
Is that NAG one?
No, I think NAG one's great.
That's my first time I won the state championship. That was from 2016.
Oh, state championship.
Yeah.
Check that out, dude.
Yeah, and I only ran it in one race, which is crazy because I aged up into the next class, and Rick Lowry was the defending champion in 41, and I was coming in from 36 to 40. So I was like, out of respect, I was like, I'm gonna run my district number and take his #1 off his hand. Never happened, but yeah, I still got the championship, and I was like, that was a goal I accomplished. So didn't win the race, but I won the championship, the title that year. That's why it was such a big deal when I won the race last year. I was like, oh, finally won this race, dude. So
that's awesome, dude. Yeah, so you need to get that properly mounted with your jersey or something, man.
Oh yeah, I'm moving into a bigger. I might be moving into a bigger space than this, so I've got plans.
There you go, man.
Okay, drum roll. Okay. Virtual fist bump, Mark.
There you go.
All right, let the best rider win.
All right, so if you both get this right, we got a tie. One of you are going to be a winner, okay?
And we do not say what we write down our answers. Okay.
Yeah, don't say the answer. All right. In 1985, a popular pair of sunglasses appeared in BMX action. Was that popular pair of sunglasses Varney, Ray-Ban, or Ferrari?
Oh,
don't say it, Mark.
Yeah, I'm just.
I hope I spelled it right.
Yeah, it doesn't matter as long as we know what it is. All right. You guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Show me your answers. Oh, he went Ray-Ban with Mark. What do you got, yeah. Kevin? I can't see your answer. Varney. Oh, it's Varney. Kevin gets his first win.
That's the only brand I knew was Ray-Ban, but I was like, that's Ferrari.
Yeah. No, I was like, Varneys, dude, were so huge in the 80s. I can't explain to you. Everybody wore them, man. So I was like, man, I have to give him multiple choice because Mark might not know. Yeah.
Yeah, 85. I was 9. So yeah, definitely.
Hey, Mark, I feel like Mark McGuire in the Hall of Fame where he has an asterisk next to his.
Oh man, hell no.
Okay. Dude, awesome. Hey, Mark, seriously, it's been a pleasure, bro. And thank you so much for banging bars with me today and sharing your story. It's been incredible. And I know that we probably just scratched the surface, man.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. We got to bring him back.
Yeah, I'm definitely anytime, man. Let me know, dude. I'm always down for it. I love BMX conversations. I'm like one of the people, like, I could talk BMX all day long. Talk racing and BMX all day long. I love it.
You want to shout out who you ride for? You want to give a shout out of what you ride or any shout out?
Yeah, Babs, Factory Babs BMX. Check them out online, babsbmx.com. Yeah, shout out to my my team manager Howard Cato, good friend of mine. Always been with him since 2013, and all my teammates around the Bay Area, and all my friends I ride with, and all the guys I race against in 46 to 50 expert, all those dudes, national, statewide, local, no matter what, dude. Yeah, it's just.
And thanks to all the guys that were behind you.
Even them too. They'll beat me every now and then. Every dog has his day.
All right, man. All right, Mark. It's been a pleasure, bro. I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. See you around, man.
And we'll see you on the next step. We'll see you on the next episode, bro. Thank you.
All right, for sure.
All right, man. Have a great night.
All right, later.
All right, Kevin. So now we got to talk a little bit about our plans, huh?
About that episode, I thought, dude, that was very cool, dude. I did not realize that the homeboy won nationals, man.
Yeah, he's Mark's the legit thing. He's the real thing, man. So like I was when I reached out to him on Facebook, I was hoping he was going to say yes. I did talk to him a little bit at Frogtown back in September, and we were just chatting it up. And he goes, "Man, I've seen your channel. I like what you do." And I go, "Man, yeah, we should sit down one day and just talk, and I'd love to get some stuff on film." And he's like, "Yeah, absolutely." And I forgot all about it. I really did, because I'm not an interview guy typically. So I said, "Man, I forgot all about it." And when you and I are scrambling now to figure out our game plan, I was like, "Oh, I know exactly," because I just saw him win last week. So I was like, "I'm gonna ask this dude."
Did he race Frogtown, or was he just there?
He was just hanging out because he didn't want to risk injury because he had the state finals coming up. So he's like, "No,
that's something of only someone that's fast will say that, right? I don't want to risk injury."
Right. Yeah.
You got to be fast to say that.
Right. So what do we got, Kev? What's on the agenda coming up on the next couple episodes?
I want to talk. I want to talk to everybody out in BMX land. I want to do. We've been doing a lot of 80s trivia and that type of thing, dude. But I want to go. I really want to talk about 70s with somebody. Do some 70s trivia. So that's what I'm hoping to do. So I was kind of hoping to put out like a feeler with if anybody watches this episode that says, you know what, I know about the 70s. I'd love to come on and bang bars and do 70s trivia. I think that would be awesome. I was born in 67. So when Redline started in 74, 73, I was 6 years old, but I'm willing to, I think I have enough knowledge to at least be competitive. But I think that would be great to do that. I don't know about you, but I would love to go deep dives on certain brands like SE, Torker, and that type of thing, and go deep dives on that and just stick on that one brand. I think that that would be cool if we could find anybody that would like to come on and to do something like that. I mean, do you have any ideas of what you're looking to do?
Yeah, I think you're on the right track. We can definitely do episodes where we dedicate to something, similar like we did with Skyway. We're like, hey, we're gonna focus on this brand, and if you want to do different eras of BMX, it's definitely possible. I don't have the magazines for that, so I'm gonna really have to research it.
No. It would be an interview. It would be. Oh, I see what you said. It would be. Well, yeah, you'd have to go on to Wikipedia or something, and
right. Yeah, even if we're just gonna have dialogue, I would still need to research, but it's not something impossible to get hold of. And if we get the right guest, they can give us a lot of knowledge of the early stages of the sport, and that's going back to when you and I were just kids. So
it's hard. It's hard in regards to. From both, okay, let's say that there's someone out there that's interested in coming on the podcast. They're probably thinking, "Oh, dude, they're not going to want to talk to me."
Right.
And we're probably thinking, "Oh, I'd love to have that person on, but they'll never come on."
Yeah.
Right. So it's almost like, So I would want to put it out there to everybody out there. We would love to. We'll talk to anybody. Right. Right. I mean, I don't. Everybody interests me. So if you'd like to come on. We could do a round table or whatever. Would you like anybody out there like to see more than 3 people on the pod? 4 or 5, whatever, stack little squares all over the place. Would that be something that everybody will want to see? We're open to all of that. So if you're interested in coming on the podcast, absolutely reach out to Danny or myself on YouTube or what have you, or you could.
Yeah. I'm totally available on Facebook as well, and I get a lot of. That's how I was able to connect to Mark and And our last guest, was Shane. I was able to get through him on Facebook, and I'm currently talking to a gentleman that's in Australia. He's a BMX collector, never raced, but I think he has a lot of interesting things to say. And so if you're not a racer, if you're just a big fan of the sport and you just want to talk about BMX, this is the place to do it, because we just like to chat. It doesn't have to be all about your race history. And if you just have an interest in it, like, heck, if you have a couple bikes you just want to talk about, bring it. Let's talk about it.
That reminds me that last weekend I was out at the at the bike track. I forgot the name of the city now. At the bike show. At the bike show in Southern California. They're gonna kill me now that I can't. It escapes my brain what city it was in. But
I saw your clips.
Yeah. That stupid clip got like 20,000 views so far. It was crazy. But
I saw that.
Yeah, dude. So, anyways, I was out there and I was talking to a guy that owned some of those bikes, and I was like, dude, I would love to come, because everybody says, oh, I got 100 more bikes at home. I got crap hanging everywhere. And I was like, dude, I would love to, do a site visit and look at somebody's collection and talk to them in depth and let someone have the opportunity to share and show off their collection or brag about what they have. I've seen that done with like cars, like Jay Little's Garage or whatever, car collections. I think it'd be cool to someone that's in Southern California for me to go out and talk to them and check out their bikes and show their bikes off to the world. Just that one little clip I posted today, it probably has 19,000 views by now. And I think I posted it yesterday. So if you have a big, if someone's out there, they have a big collection in Southern California, whatever the case may be, and they want to share it, I'll be more than happy to come out to you and share your collection with the world. And you can remain, your anonymity will be protected.
Yeah. Don't show him where he's got his source of $1 million worth of BMX.
Yeah,
that would be good.
Yeah, man. So before we wrap up, I want you to. This whole thing does not just consist of the BMX's podcast. There's a whole nother arm to this thing that Danny runs, and I'd like to have Danny make sure that people understand where he comes from and what he does, because if you like this podcast or this episode or whatever, I want everybody to understand that doesn't. Danny has his own thing going, and to go and make sure that you support Danny as well too. So if you don't mind, take a couple minutes to describe what you do and that type of thing, man. If you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem. By the way, it was Ukaipa Bike Show.
Ukaipa.
There you go. I had to look you up. You can find me on YouTube, Danny Pena BMX Racing. As I mentioned before, I love racing, BMX racing, so I go over all the old magazines and I go over old races. I also do new school, mid school, old school, mash them all together. I like to look at anything that's BMX related. I'll make a video out of it and I share it with everybody out there that wants to see it. And I also take clips from these shows. I give you a very small condensed version of what Kevin does. I'll put it on my channel. If you like the flavor of that, just jump on over to Kevin's. You can see the whole thing. And other than that, that's it. Just like and subscribe.
The most important thing is subscribe to both channels.
Right.
I got 4 subscribers today, dude. I was pretty happy.
Yeah, and you were so close to 1,000. I just broke the 850 mark, so I'm like, okay, man, I'm almost there. It's like I felt like I got to 800 in a blink, and now I'm like crawling, man. And I think there's people out there that like to subscribe and unsubscribe just to mess with me.
Totally, dude. Totally, yeah. They're messing with me. It's a communist, and they're against me. Yeah. Totally. But thank you, Rich. And just for the record, like Danny and I talk quite frequently, although we've never met in person, right? We're really
just over the phone video.
We've never been in the same room together, which we'll rectify that for Dirty Fest. But I wanted to tell Danny, thank you very much. Without Danny's efforts and without his support, this show would not be half of what it might be half of what it is now. Not completely what it is now. But thank you very much, Danny, for helping me out and for being the zig to my zag or whatever the case may be. In closing, I would like to I'm not good. This is what I'm not very good at: selling stuff or offering stuff for sale. But I will try one time.
Advertise.
If a couple months ago, I dropped some merch on my new website, BMXerspodcast.com, and on that there's some shirts, there's some sweatshirts, and there's some hats. Now, people have asked me about hats, and I came up with this hat that I'm wearing right now, and this hat. I like this hat because it's very, very stiff, very nice. It's not all floppy, and it's not all like a trucker hat. It keeps its shape very well, and it lasts a long time. Now this is mine that I broke out for the last episode, but I have 9 more of these hats, and this is off the very first run that I've ever done. This is probably the fourth hat that I chose and the 4th design that I chose. So this seems to be the most popular with my friends and family. I have 9 more of these left, and they are now on the website on BMXpodcast.com for $35 plus shipping. They're normally $40. If that's a good deal, I have no idea. I've been told by my family that $40 is the going rate for a hat. I don't know. I'll throw that out there. So if you have a couple minutes and you'd like to support the channel, I will not ask for Venmo or what's the thing where people ask to get paid for their what is it called again?
For you got Venmo and there's PayPal and
Patreon. I will never ask for a Patreon. I will never ask for money from anybody out there. The only way that I'm going to ask you to support is to support and maybe pick up a hat or a shirt at bmxpodcast.com. And
ditto. I'll never do memberships. You just watch for free. I do this just because I love doing it. It's not a financial thing for me. It's just like I just love doing this. So I never charge you to watch. Yeah.
And sponsorships, I don't know. I've never had someone who want a sponsored episode. I guess I got to cross that when I come to it. If it comes.
Yeah, well, you never know. It might happen.
You never know. But we are planning on expanding the channel. The podcast. We're going to get more guests. We're fine tuning on every episode, so we appreciate you guys coming by. Thank you very much once again from Danny and myself for watching this episode. And for going forward, we're going to be recording throughout the week, and we will drop a new episode every Saturday morning at 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time from this particular point forward. So look for new episodes coming out on Saturday mornings.
All right, man. That's a lot. That was great.
Let's go. Until next week, from Danny Pena and myself, the track is now closed. Peace out, everybody.